Hello, everyone. This is Zami Eccles-Irwin from Circuit.com and the assistant director of the Austin After Dark Film Festival. We are gearing up for our summer 2023 screening, which is going to be on August 6th at the Austin Film Society Cinema. And today we are talking with two of our participating filmmakers. Luke and Martha Van Garza are the creators behind Pete and Repeat. And what was it? Spectral Wind?
Spectral Wind.
Spectral Wind.
Spectral Wind. Well, thank you guys for being here.
It's backwards. Sorry.
That's okay. Lovely cover. And so we had the pleasure of talking recently because Pete and Repeat is in the Austin Comedy Film Festival, which is going to screen this Saturday. Very exciting. And in Austin After Dark, you guys actually have two films. So Pete and Repeat will be screening on August 6th at Austin After Dark, and you have a non-comedy Spectral Winds, which is going to be screening. So thank you both for being back here. It's nice to talk to you again. Tell us a little bit about what Spectral Winds is about.
Sure. So Spectral Wind is a supernatural drama. It's about an ambitious parapsychologist who wants to prove the existence of something called the spectral wind.
Okay.
In order to prove it, he wants to enlist the help of his wife, who is a psychic and has worked with him in the past. But the problem is she has suffered a recent trauma as a result of a miscarriage, and she thinks that miscarriage was caused by a ghostly attack. So she has quit the business altogether. She's quit her line of work. So he's tasked with figuring out a way to get her, to rope her into helping him one last time. With obviously cool. Disastrous results.
Right. Awesome. So what inspired that story?
It's sort of a lengthy explanation, but I used to belong, many years ago, I used to belong to what's called a theosophical church. It's sort of one of these churches that combines religion, the world's major religions into one.
Okay.
And they, amongst their beliefs, sort of their fringe beliefs, some of them believe that there are spiritual or supernatural forces that travel the globe along the Earth's magnetic lines. Some of them believe that these forces are comprised of spirits. So based on that, my mind's kind of started percolating, and eventually I came up with a scenario where there is a marauding band of ghosts traveling the Earth.
Oh, very cool. So this actually ties in with the theosophic beliefs.
It does, yeah, in a way, yeah.
Cool. Oh, well, very interesting.
It's a roving band of spirits. They're not tied to any one place. They kind of travel in packs, which sounds horrible to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's supposed to be.
It's scary.
Is it decidedly malicious, or as entities, are they just confused and roaming?
Yeah, they're you could say they're malicious, sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what is it like writing in this case? When we talk about Pete and Repeat, which is a drama, is a comedy, but it has sort of a sentimental, it's kind of a heartstring puller, at least for me anyway. What's it like writing in just the drama register?
Well, I can say that after writing this, it probably could stand a little comic relief,
okay.
Ironically, because it's pretty straightforward and maybe unrelenting to some degree. So, but I had the basic story in mind when, and just sort of rolled it out, and it got a pretty good response from workshopping it and getting feedback on it.
Right.
So
it did. The workshopping went well, but I tell you what brought it home is these actors. These two characters are very well written and very well fleshed out, but the actors that pulled these two roles off were undeniable. They are absolute brilliant performances in a somewhat, it's kind of as it's a band of roving spirits, everything's kind of vague. You're not quite sure, but they managed to pull out these emotions between husband and wife, and it's really cool.
Awesome. Okay, so what was it like eliciting these kind of reactions from the actors? I'm assuming that maybe they're interacting with. Do you guys have lots of effects? Any stuff in post? What kind of vagueness are they operating in?
Well, this was an extremely low budget production.
Okay.
I mean, a very small cast only two members, and a very small crew at that. It was deliberately written, with pretty much no effects in mind. So everything is pulled off based on the drama of things.
And the writing, the
right.
writing is so tight, but
Awesome.
yeah.
And I should mention that Elizabeth Lloyd was my co-director on this film as well. So she brought, you know, her own element to the table
Okay.
that really, you know, our directorial talents kind of complemented each other.
Elizabeth runs Ethereal Horror Fest here in
Oh, very cool.
So she's well versed in drama and scary and suspense. I wasn't around for any of this. He and I haven't been together long enough.
Okay.
This was this film that he wrote and filmed before I came around, but because I don't do scary movies.
You need to have a bit more comedy edge, and
That's why he married me. He needed some comic relief in his life,
yeah.
you
I
know.
love that. Well, you should do your own cut of Spectral Wins that, you know, throws in some blooper reel or whatever.
What a good idea.
The comedy mega cut. There's always room for, you know, re-edits.
Yes.
Well, so you said this is earlier than Pete and Repeat. What was the shooting process like for this one? Did you learn, did you face any difficulties? You said really low budget, but great actors and a good co-director.
Yeah. Well, we had some issues with both the cinematography and the sound in terms of we didn't have any sort of, you know, the equipment that we had, the video monitor kind of went out. And so we were basically trusting the DP to get all the shots, which we did. But unfortunately, we, the co-directors couldn't see the coverage live. And there were some audio issues as well. The original audio person couldn't make it in. So we had to bring in somebody else. So that took a lot. The audio took a lot of
forensics.
Work in post.
A lot of work in post.
But in terms of the actual shoot, it was a very smooth shoot. It you know, we had a relatively small amount of setups, and you know, it went quite smooth. I think we pulled it off in like 8 hours. So
awesome! Wow. Okay. Well, now I have a question, and this is something that I'm trying to absorb as much as I can, because any production I've ever been on is wrought with the type of problems you described there, which is like, you know, essential technical difficulties, stuff that, you know, you really shouldn't have, you know, be going wrong. This is sometimes you get a monitor and it's like, all right, the monitor's dead. It's, you know, the LCD's blew out or whatever. What is your advice for when you face something like that, where it's not even like you know, weather constraint, location issue? It's like, dang, these things are breaking. The sound guy doesn't show up. The stuff that's really tough. And obviously, you made a great movie, regardless. But what are your tips for pushing through in scenarios like that?
You got to have backups on everything. You know, in terms of the equipment for certain, you know, as well. Also, in terms of the crew, I mean, if you can, try to line up, you know, people who can stand in when. We were fortunate that we were able to pull other people in when you know, the original people couldn't make it. So, I mean, that's the most practical advice I could give, you know. Not every production has the luxury of doing that, but
right. And my philosophy is very different than that. This is my, I've got to have a backup guy. He always makes sure the door is locked and we have everything we need. I'm more of the throw my hands up and yell plot twist and do it differently, which is evidenced in our other film that's also in Austin After Dark, Pete and Repeat. There was one section we filmed just kind of in case, because he told me you need to film that scene. I'm like, we're not going to use it. He says film it. We're not going to use it. Guess what we used? So he wins, totally. But I win for improv.
Right. Well, that makes it a great dynamic duo, Luke. You have your more sort of, you know, I got to have my backup. And then Martha, you're just flying. And I think that's great. And let's transition to talking about Pete and Repeat. So that's one that I particularly loved. I watched it for Austin Comedy. And so that has, of course, those dark themes, but then a little bit of that comedy too. What was the impetus for that movie?
We walked into, we were on my family's land for Thanksgiving, and we walked into this barn that my uncle has. They have these beautiful gardens and a pond and a gazebo and beautiful house. But we walk in this barn and it smells like gasoline, and there's a little table and a potbelly stove and a bunch of pitchforks. I looked at those pitchforks and I went, we have got to make a zombie movie. It was just a crazy idea. I've never made a movie before. And he was like, oh, sure, honey, go for it. So we did.
That.
And, awesome. You know, my comedy is my default, so it was easier for me to go that route. And as you said, it does have kind of a sweet sentimental ending that happened organically through his help in writing and the actors. It was great.
Awesome. Well, as a result with that fusion, it's such a strong film. And so
Thank
tell me,
you.
when you see like the props and you thought, okay, this is a zombie scenario, right? Did you think sort of dark comedy at the outset? Is it everything you do, you have that comedy as that impetus, or did you kind of think, oh, what if we turn it into a zombie comedy?
To be honest, and I don't know how it happens for most people, but it's like the whole idea downloaded in about 10 seconds in my
Okay.
head. And it was meant to be just like a 2-minute film. It had a totally different ending. It was just a silly punchline.
Right.
And then this guy, who is the screenwriting professor here in town, really pushed me to make it a story. And with his guidance and his help, we found the backbone, no pun intended. We found the skeleton of it, and it became much more than that joke. And we left some of the levity, and there's a lot of puns. There are a lot of puns in Pete and Repeat, and that's just how we roll.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it's great, and I love that these two minds can come together and create, great art. I want to ask, and this is something that I've been asking people that I've been interviewing for the After Dark Festival specifically. And the thing with Austin After Dark is that it's not genre specific, but it's theme specific. And for so many people, the dark theme, whatever that means to you, whether it be horror or dark drama or any other kind of dark theme, it seems to really mean a lot to people. And I'm just curious, what does the dark theme mean to both of you? Since you've had two films now that both fit in to that category. Do you feel something special with the theme of just darkness in cinema?
Well, I mean, we're both Gen X, and Gen X is kind of notorious for gravitating towards darker themes, darker materials.
Okay,
I mean,
totally.
we were the original people in black or goths,
Right.
or whatever.
Heathers.
So, I think it's sort of ingrained generationally and culturally into us. An appreciation for the dark. Not everybody in our generation loves the dark, but a lot of us do. So I happen to be one of them. I mean, I've been, a horror fanatic since I was a child. So
Totally.
He was more The Cure, and I was more Cyndi Lauper. So to me, the dark really didn't happen for a long time. I
Okay.
was widowed in my 40s. And that's when I kind of looked around and said, okay, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Right.
And I learned a lot about humanity, and I learned a lot about our own finalization. And is there more later? I don't know. And it changed me up enough that I started to have a much wider world view. And I accept the dark now. I don't push it away. It's like, oh,
Right.
yeah, that's dark, but it's here and it's real.
Well, that seems very valuable. And to an extent, it seems like people take something out of dark media that's actually therapeutic and soothing and is lightness for them. And,
Awesome.
whether that's explicitly said kind of in the Pete and Repeat case where, oh, it's actually very nice, in a way, or if it's something where it is like Spectral Winds, where it's more straightforward dark, still people get a certain solace out of that. Well, tell me again, we talked about this, of course, in the last interview, but for our Austin After Dark viewers, what are you guys working on now?
We've got 2 more shorts in the pipeline.
Okay.
The first one is called Pennant. We're sort of alternating between, more dramatic, serious stuff and lighter comedic stuff. So
The Cure and Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the next upcoming project is called Pen and Ink. It's supernatural drama again, and it's basically about an ICU nurse who takes in a heavily tattooed patient who basically is suicidal, and he asks this nurse to euthanize him. And after much deliberation and pressure, she finally does, only to discover that she has inherited his tattoos. And these tattoos are a curse that spell out her deepest, darkest secrets and sins to the rest of the world. So that's Pen and Ink.
Okay, cool. And that's the first one on the list right now. You guys are
That's-
working. Where are you at right now for that pre-production?
We're in pre-production on both
Okay.
of them. Yeah, we've got scripts for both of them, and we're
Okay,
now
cool.
in the process of looking at, financing and casting and that sort of thing and scheduling. So
Cool.
Then on the lighter side, to my side. I'm actually a home stager for a living. So I
Okay,
go
cool.
through vacant homes. I fill them full of art, furniture, and accessories to help him sell for more money in a faster amount of time. So when we originally started dating, he kind of hit me up saying, "Hey, I want to write this HGTV script. I know you know a lot about this." We really connected. And it turned out that it's called HGTV, but it stands for Her Ghost Takes Vengeance. And it is this house flipping couple who wrongs a widow. She comes back and wreaks havoc. And it's dark, but funny and scary and excellent parody of
I
all
love
of
that.
those HGTV shows.
Yeah, we really kind of want to poke fun at the Chip and Joanna Gaines or
Mhm.
Tarek and Christina type
Uh-huh.
of HGTV hosts,
Yeah.
and sort of explore the notion of what happens if a couple like this buys a house, but significantly lowballs the owner, and then
Right.
there's a vengeful spirit that finds out about this and takes vengeance on them, on camera. So
Right.
basically, it's sort of we would shoot it as an actual episode of one of these shows.
Okay, right.
To show things going completely haywire during the filming.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I'm a horror fan, but my first love is HGTV, and so that combination.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, come play with us.
I
Come
know,
be
that
on our
sounds great.
team.
I would
We'd
love to
love to
see
have
one of
you.
those just ridiculously perfect couples like the Chip and Joanna, where it's just like there must be they're screwing people over somehow.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
That is awesome. So these are you gonna start filming maybe next summer potentially?
Oh,
No,
much
sooner than that.
Sooner? Okay, awesome.
This
So
fall.
then next summer's festival run potentially we can start
Hey,
seeing these.
yeah.
Hopefully, yes.
That is so exciting. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. Is there anything else you guys would like to add about either of these films?
They're cool. Come see them.
Okay.
August 6th, we're going to be at Austin After Dark Film Festival. We are so honored to have both of our films, Pete and Repeat and Spectral Wind. If you would like, please visit www.starshinefilms.com. There you can see both of our shorts as well as their trailers. And you can join the mailing list for when we have premieres and other things. We have some big stuff around the corner. So we'd love to have all of you along with us. Thank you so much for making us a part of the festival.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to pump Starshine Films in the description here so people can check it out. And yeah, I love you both. The duo is so cool. And I cannot
Thank you
wait to
so
watch
much. I
you
can't
guys.
wait to see you.
Thanks.
Yes. Take care.
All right, take
Bye.
care.
Bye.